Are you a seal that really wants to be a dog?
No, I'm a dog that's already a dog. But what kind of dog? I'll do it one more time.
All right. Basset hound?
Close. Doberman Pinscher mixed with a Labrador.
Okay.
Yeah, close though. Close.
I like it. The person making the dog noises
It's always.
is Sean Patton.
And the person pointing out that I am a perpetual dog imitator, it's Caitlin Cook.
Mm-hmm.
There she is.
Hello.
There's the podcast.
5 words.
5 words.
5 words.
Now, does that mean we only say 5 words? Well, no, we say many words.
This is true.
The guests themselves say many words in conjunction with our many words, but 5 of those words that they tell us are from a story. Based on those 5 words, we try and guess what the story is, which we are always 2,000,000% correct.
Mm-hmm.
And then they tell us the quote-unquote real story, and more conversation ensues, and you, the listener, just had the best 43 to 57 minutes of your life.
Very true.
Yeah, because that's usually the range of...
It's the bracket.
Yeah, the bracket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what's up. And this guest, no exception to the rule, and that rule, of course, is every guest we have on this episode is great. This one, no exception, Dr. Josh Gondelman.
Yeah.
He's not really a doctor, but
he can have a
he
doctor.
could be.
He's won several Emmys.
He does, yeah.
He was
if you win enough Emmys, you can just trade them in for a doctor.
Yeah, he's also the nicest man in comedy.
Like a nice, like Dr. Nice.
Dr. Nice.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Like you'd expect. There's just civilian nice.
Yeah.
There's comedian nice, which is way meaner than civilian.
True.
There's cab driver nice. There's sandwich artist nice. There's airline pilot nice, and then there's Doctor nice, where it's like, whoa, you care about me because it's your job. Mm-hmm. Josh is that nice, except that he's not getting paid to be nice to you.
This is true.
Yeah.
He's just genuinely nice.
And a published author.
What's
his book called?
Nice Try.
Nice. See? Nice. Yes. It's in the title of his book.
Exactly.
Boom.
So his book is great. It just came out. It's a lot of little short stories about his life. It's wonderful. And also, if you don't know him, he was the head writer on Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. And now is
Desus Mero.
Head writer for Desus Mero. And he's been on all the late night shows. And look him up. Otherwise, you're going to enjoy him on this episode. Yeah. And you can see him. He plugs some of his shows at the end of this episode. But if you go on his website, joshgondelman.com, you can look at all the dates. He's going to be at some shows in Brooklyn and the Lower East Side for most of February. And then he'll be in Boston at Laugh Boston in mid-March. So look him up. Check him out. Sean, where are you going to be this week?
Well, I just released, it was last week, I announced my King Scorpio, the tour, part 1.
Oh, I know it well.
Yeah. So look it up because we got some dates in Colorado coming up, in Carbondale and Fort Collins and Steamboat Springs. And then I've announced the dates up through May, and I'm going to wait another month and then announce the dates for the rest of the year.
Hell yeah.
So just go to my website, King Scorpio Tour 2020, part 1 has been released. And Caitlin designed the poster. It's wonderful. And part 2 will be released soon. More cities are afoot.
You timed that well.
I did. Where are you going to be?
You know what? I'm just going to continue to plug the only show that I care about, which is, once again, at Feinstein's 54 Below on April 23rd. I'm doing my solo show, Death Wish, as no longer a solo show. It's got a full band. I'm working with a Broadway musical director, and it's going to be big. So you should come to that. And then also you should come to Good God. The next one is really killer. It's got the Lucas Brothers, Christina Hutchinson, Randy the Purple Puppet, Martin Urbano, Allison Leiby, and Jenny Zagrino.
I believe it's Randy Feltface.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He goes by Randy Feltface.
Yeah.
Randy the Purple Puppet.
He's got mad aliases, like
yes,
a rapper.
He does.
All right.
But it's going to be a great show, and you should come to that on the 18th.
And remember, April 23rd, that's Caitlin's Death Wish show, where she now has a band of zombies she brought back.
It's true.
It's on a Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
So what else are you going to do on a Thursday?
Go see my show.
There it is. But until then,
Enjoy
start
the
by
episode.
listening to this episode. Chihuahua with a little bit of a mutt, but that mutt's probably a Pomeranian.
You're spot on.
Damn right. Very loud at all times.
It's beautiful.
Now, as someone who sings,
Yeah.
was I in any way in any sort of key?
Yeah, you're always in a key.
Always.
Yeah.
It's just depending what key
It's
is the
just-
right key.
There's no right key, but you want to stay in the same key. Do you know anything about music, Josh?
I know a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
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 I feel like that's surprising. It would be, by the way, this is our beautiful, beautiful guest.
Yeah,
Beautiful man.
gorgeous.
Wonderful friend.
Thank you.
It's just sexy comedy.
That is how I describe myself.
The proprietor of a mental business that pumps out sexy jokes.
Yep. You should change your bio to that.
I after today, I will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just if jokes had abs, these would be
I love
those.
it.
So,
Anyway,
Yeah, Josh Gondelman.
Josh Gondelman.
We like to bring our guest in right from the get-go.
Perfect.
We do.
I feel like for some reason I feel like you and I have had a lot of discussions about hip hop.
Yeah, that sounds
A
right.
lot of discussions because we were both hip hop fans growing up.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
when you were singing Microphone Check, I just was like imagining like a hip hop song, but sung that way.
Yeah.
Microphone check, 1 2 1 2. Like
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like because that was a thing I never loved as much as everyone else. When I felt like the late '90s. I think Richard Cheese was one of the guys.
Oh yeah.
And then all these bands
Richard Cheese?
Yeah.
Richard Cheese.
I love it.
He was like a loungy singer
swinging lounge. Yeah, those like kind of ironic lounge covers
of hip hop songs.
Yeah, it kind of
Yeah.
rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah, I'm not into it. I was never truly like I was in Vegas last week and in Old Vegas, Fremont, right?
Yep.
Which is like the cooler Vegas. It's way more chill. But on weekends they have 3 separate cover bands playing outside,
Oh yeah.
and it ruins everything because it's not. The fun of Fremont Street is like walking up and down that dirty ass street, looking at street performers, going into these like Binions,
Yep.
and the Four Queens, and all these
I
like
remember Binions.
cheesiest these casinos that are great because they don't take themselves seriously, but then now there's this fucking ding dong on stage doing his rendition of a Dr. Dre song.
Yeah.
And you're like,
I feel like the older I get, the more it rubs me the wrong way. Not in terms. I don't think it's just like I'm getting old. I think it's just having the perspective of like, oh come on, this was like someone's like visceral art,
Yeah.
and it like came from a real place for them, and then like the Ben Folds bitches ain't
Bitches Ain't
shit.
Shit. Yeah, I was about to bring that
and
up.
it's just like, come on, man.
Yeah.
And like in addition to like, it's not cute just because you croon it.
Yeah. I really love covers that take a song out of a certain genre or like I love, we talked about this on an earlier podcast, but I love the acoustic version of Hey Ya because it's a really sad song,
Yep.
but it's so upbeat that you don't
Yeah.
actually hear the
Yep.
lyrics until you slow it down. However, I think when you take something that is that visceral and angry and you put it in a context where it doesn't make any sense
Right.
at all, then you're doing a disservice to the
Yeah,
song.
or it's just ironic. Anya Marina has that great cover of
Yeah.
Whatever You Like
Yeah,
by
yeah.
T.I.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
It's
like very
great.
slow and like sexy and cool. And you're like, oh, this is like another dimension to this song.
Uh-huh.
Right. But if it's a cover of like Jazzy Belle, that's not a very well known Outkast song. But or a cover of if someone did Murder Was the Case That They Gave Me. Like a Snoop
Yeah,
Dogg-
yeah, exactly.
You're like, no, he's rapping about
Exactly.
a time he was on trial.
Yeah.
Like, Snoop Dogg that's some real shit.
Yeah, Murder was the case that
Yeah.
they gave him. So knock it off, Jason Mraz. Or whoever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big trend for a long time, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think the song. Because
I say
remember,
this, by the way,
what?
as someone that just did an acoustic cover of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air song, but I think that's appropriate because it's Will Smith.
Yes.
The pain Will talks about
I know.
of having to relocate.
The dice in the mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it was Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Born and raised.
Yeah. You have to
he's
say
up
smell
there.
you later.
Got one little fight.
Yeah.
Just one.
Just one.
And his mom kicked him out, threw him
Yeah.
across, said,
And,
get the fuck out
You know,
of here.
I don't want to invalidate his pain from that one fight, but I think it's okay.
If you watch the footage,
Yeah.
he seemed to be pretty cool with it by the time he got in the cab. He was doing that kind of
Yep.
head move.
Very true.
Wearing a matching lime green hat and short suit.
Mm-hmm.
Also, what's fucking hilarious is if you watch the footage of the actual fight, it's like they were. I don't think they were that mad. I think they were more just like, hey, let's look at this kid. Let's twirl him around on our shoulders.
It was
Yeah.
kind of some horsing around.
Yeah. For sure.
If that's what fights were, maybe one big like you get pushed twice and then one
I would
one
get
guy
into so many fights.
I'd walk around talking so much shit.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think the song because it was Austin, Texas. Neither one of us born and raised there, but that's where Josh and I once we did Cap City Comedy.
Yeah,
Club.
and we talked a lot about No Limit because you're
Talked a
from
lot
New
about-
Orleans.
yeah,
and we
yeah.
talked a lot about that.
And we talked about. I think the song you and I really bonded over was "I'll Be That" by Redman.
Oh yeah.
Which is still one of my. It's the only song that I know by heart that is like in a time where every rapper was like, "I'm the shit. I'm amazing. Look how rich I am. I'm dipped in gold." His was just like, "I suck. I'm a dumbass."
It's great. That was his vibe, like his MTV Cribs episode. Have you ever seen it?
No.
It's unreal.
It's really great. It's so funny on purpose.
Yeah.
Like he
Yeah.
has such like a mastery of his like persona
Yeah.
that he's like, welcome to my apartment in Newark, and I think he like you have to like touch wires together to make his doorbell go. And
Yeah.
he's got like everyone had an entertainment center, like a huge on that show, but he just had like a regular PlayStation, like wires everywhere
Yeah.
and stuff. It was, I mean, it was great.
It was, and everyone else on Cribs had like a ridiculous mansion
Yeah.
in a gated community. His was in Newark. It was like a 2-bedroom,
Yeah.
1.5 bath.
I love that.
Oh,
I love
great.
that knowing now that, like, I read
funny.
something about a lot of people, like, rented houses that weren't actually theirs or
Oh,
used,
that's
like,
so
a rich
funny.
family member. Like,
Yeah.
everyone was trying to show off as much as possible, and he clearly was like,
It was
nah.
such a whoever was like, we need to do this, whether it was like Redman himself or like the Cribs people, is so brilliant because it's the one. It's his episode is like one of the most remembered ones. I think.
Sure, dude.
Like specifically.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all. It's also like he also one of those cabinets in his kitchen was like full of hundreds and 20s.
Oh yeah.
Because he's a rapper, or if you're a live entertainer at all, you get paid mostly in cash.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
He's got that great. I think it's from Alvida where he says, "Not platinum on wax, but platinum in the streets." And I was like, that's so good.
That's great.
Yeah, he's great. One of I wish the stuff you were doing now are like more.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't
like
even
prominent.
I haven't even heard any of his newer stuff.
He had a song that came out last year. He had a few songs that came out either last year or the year before that were pretty good. I think he had a song just called "Yeah" for last year, and I was like, or just spelled "YA," and I was like, "Yeah."
I like that. I like that
He's
a lot.
he's funny, like in a way that I think like he's consistently funny on purpose in a way that I think sometimes rappers aren't, and people are like, that guy's being ridiculous, but it's like he knows what he's doing. It's like not an accident.
Dude, like a few years ago, I was in this straight to Apple, straight to iTunes movie called Wifed Up, I believe it. Wifed Up or Wifed Out, I can't remember actually. It was a while ago. It's a movie about, it's a bachelor party gone crazy in New York. It starred Meta World Peace,
Wow.
Eve the rapper, Mark Maron, Dan St. Germain, and myself are also in it.
How have I never seen this?
I've never actually seen it. It was a fun shoot, but the whole time you were doing it, you were like, "This isn't." Oh, and the Fat Jew, of internet plagiarism fame, pre any of that. This was like
Right.
2 years before any of that happened. And here's the thing, that guy was actually funny. Like he was like so when all that came out that he was like stealing people's jokes from Twitter or whatever, it was like, oh really? Because I didn't. Why would he need to do that?
Right.
He was also kind of a diva. He was also like he yelled at the sound guy once. And I was like, why are you yelling at the sound guy?
no
Because
need
your
to do
mic
that.
pack keeps falling off. But he was an alright guy. But like Eve, I was in every one of my scenes with Eve.
Wow.
The rapper. I had to watch them spray paint the paw prints
Yeah.
off her chest or tattoos.
Yeah.
She
They
had
covered over. They did cover up.
That's crazy.
And there was just one day where like we never had like a trailer, but we had like an area that the holding area, and we were there setting up a shot, and it's taking forever. And I'm just over there, and I go, I heard the party going on in there. Yeah, let me shake my stinking ass in there. Yeah, which is from I'll Be That.
Yeah.
And she starts laughing, and I'm like, oh fuck, she as a rapper probably knows redneck.
Yeah.
They're not even from that far away,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
She's from like Philly.
Yeah.
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 And she was like, of course she knew redneck.
Yeah.
And she was like, he's really that dude.
Oh, that's
He's
great.
like, it's not an act.
Amazing.
She's like,
I love
he's
that.
just like a fucking, he's just like doesn't give a shit goofball.
That's great.
That's him. He's
Yeah.
really, and I'm like, yes.
It's so
Redneck.
yeah. He's
Yeah.
really funny and like I had those albums.
Oh, yeah.
Great. That he was like real influential on me.
Yeah. And then
feel
every
like-
now and again would rap about having a gun, and you're like,
Yeah.
but you're not dangerous with that gun. You're not a danger.
Right.
You're not
Yeah.
like,
Come on.
it's fun. Your gun's fun.
Yeah, like shoot him up in the air like Yosemite Sam.
I feel like that whole rap world is very similar to stand-up and comedy because with bands, you're not interacting with each other as much.
Right.
But like with stand-up, you're in the green room, you're hanging out, and like rap, everyone's featuring on each other's
Yeah.
things, and they're all part of different groups, and like that community seems very similar to like how tight-knit it is.
I bet it is.
Yeah.
I bet everybody kind of knows each other.
Mhm.
Sure. Like or everybody's like 2 degrees from everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and if only, I wish it was a little more so, like, as a comedian, if I could, if I'm doing a show at 8 p.m., if I could go on stage at 10:30.
People are so excited.
Yeah, extremely high and drunk with like 15 more comedians.
I mean, you could.
That's kind of a thing you almost sort of see happening more and more is like comedians drop, like rappers will drop in on each other's tracks. And
Yeah.
like comedians dropping in on each other's sets.
I know.
On stage.
Yeah.
Like you just like Michael Che walking up and
Yeah.
just like in the Cypher set.
yeah.
Yeah,
you know?
Che does that a lot.
Or like
yeah.
Attell.
Attell brings
Yeah.
people up with
Get
him.
up
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun. I like that energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. That's
like-
why I love when Sylvan's hosts as well, because he kind of does that in between people.
Yeah. And then I like that kind of like we're all working together. It's like I imagine the audience likes it. Like to me it feels kind of like a special thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The worst is when you have to go on after something
yeah.
like that though.
Yeah.
Where the audience just watch like 3 of their favorite comedians just shit on each other for 45 minutes.
Yeah, set like
It's like,
all off the cuff.
Yeah, like we got
Yeah.
one more for you. It's like why?
Yeah.
Why though?
We could just be done.
Yeah. I feel like both of you are put in that position a lot of the time where you're expected, because you're strong comedians across the board, expected to close out the show after something wild
that's very
happens.
kind. Thank you. I've had to do it a couple times there. Not usually with something like exceptional, but I've like had to follow like Ray Romano and stuff.
I mean that's crazy. You know?
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
wild. I try to be not like a publicly like aw shucks about too many things.
Right.
But something like that, I am still like, that is really cool and unexpected. Like I never thought I would be at the Comedy Cellar. Ray Romano drops in, does 15 minutes, and then I go up and don't fully eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like somehow the audience accepts you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As they just accepted, former syndicated television
Yeah.
star
Yeah.
and actor of movies.
Yep.
Ray Romano.
Still good.
Still good.
Still good.
That's the other
Still
thing
funny,
about him.
yeah.
He's not like just cashing like fame checks on stage.
No.
Like, he's funny and he's still right. The stuff about his kids especially like really
Oh,
kills
yeah.
me.
I completely agree. I also, I really love that in his specials, it wasn't like pre-announced and he just
Yeah.
dropped in.
It's very
Well, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like, isn't Stormy Daniels is doing, I don't know if it's stand-up, but she's doing like public speaking
Yeah.
now, right?
Mhm.
Because last night, this is news to Caitlin, our friends, the Cajun fact checker, Jeremy John Neese, from Eunice, Louisiana, giving him a shout out, even though he's checked facts via text and I've never read any of them on the show. Keep them coming, bud. I'm gonna. Him and his awesome wife, Laura, who's an author and a professor at Tulane, they interviewed Stormy Daniels last night
Oh, for
after
what?
a show in New Orleans. She was
Wow.
doing like the House of Blues, which is pretty big.
Yeah.
And they interviewed her, and fucking Jeremy was like, I tried to get her to give y'all a plug, but she didn't have any makeup on. And I was like, damn, thanks, Jeremy. You know,
That's so nice.
we just throwing this out there. We'd love a plug from Stormy Daniels.
Yeah, right?
Absolutely.
That'd be pretty fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And don't even have to come be a guest.
Yeah.
We're not at your level yet, Stormy. Or are we?
I bet she has great stories
Oh,
outside
yeah.
of the Trump stuff. Even
of
like
course.
she just seems like really funny and like pretty relaxed about things.
Yeah, she's led a very interesting life and is like pretty open to sharing.
Yeah,
which I think is
that's
really cool.
exactly it.
Yeah.
Have you like okay? You spent time in LA,
Yeah.
and you grew up in LA, Caitlin.
Yes.
Have either of you ever gone to porn star karaoke night?
No.
No.
It's a thing that exists in LA. It's in the Valley. It's like once a month. All the porn stars go to this one bar. I've never been to the one in LA. They all go to this one bar and do karaoke, and you can just go do karaoke with porn stars.
I would say that we should go, but
Yeah.
I feel like if you're talking about it on this podcast, there's probably a lot of like creepy dudes that come out.
I feel like they put because I went to I was gonna go in Vegas I was in Vegas last week.
Yeah.
I'm just dropping Vegas references.
Yeah.
But I was there during the AVN.
Oh yeah, right.
Right. So all these porn stars are in town, and there was like a porn star karaoke event, and we wanted to go, but it was like you can't get in.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
there must be a ton of security, but that sounds fun.
It does sound fun, but it's also like because like last year I was in Vegas during the AVNs again, and we actually went to one. It was at the Hard Rock Cafe. My manager, myself, and one of the other comedians, we went to the fucking after party
For the AVN.
Yeah,
awards.
and they were just walking around. It was just at the Hard Rock.
Yeah.
Right. So it probably wasn't the super cool after party, but it was an after party. And you see, it's weird because you see a couple of people where you're like, oh yeah, I know who you are. I know who you are.
Yeah.
But that's the
Yeah.
idea, right?
Right.
Like I feel like it's not where they're not like, I'm in front of my kids, mister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's like a porn. Yeah, it's-
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I went and ordered drinks, and the bartender was like, giving me a look, and he's like, I've seen you in some stuff. And I remember,
I remember
the
you telling
story?
me about this now.
And I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
being like, all right, he either A, thinks I'm a porn star,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or has seen me in comedy things.
Yeah.
I've done some stuff, ish. And so I had to kind of like bait him to get it out. I was like, oh man, yeah. What did you see? And he's like, oh, come on, man. And he did that.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, come on, man.
So
Like,
that
in
suggests it's porn,
yeah, in
right?
that way where it's like, oh, you think you've beat off to me.
That's so funny.
But then right at the last minute, he goes, I mean, and then he says it, he goes, Cummins' story's great.
Oh, that's funny.
And it's funny because I was like, okay, that's a story I told on All Things Comedy about the mispronunciation of the spice cumin.
Yeah.
Cumin,
And,
right?
this
But-
is not happening.
Oh, this is not happening.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, this is not happening. But what's fucking hilarious was also in that context, I was like, but in this context,
Cumin.
That's
Yeah.
so funny.
Great.
also applies.
Yeah.
What an incredible
Yeah.
because and it's so weird. Like if someone was like, "Hey, I've seen you in things,"
Yeah.
I always feel very like I would just be like, "Thank you," but like in this specific circumstance, you
Yeah.
have to ask like,
Yeah.
"What?" Because you don't want to like milk it if it's just like at a regular like, "What have you seen?" Like,
Yeah,
"Oh, you're
yeah.
a fan of me? Name 3 of my albums."
And he, I mean, obviously it was a comedy thing, but I at least I think because he said the Cummins story, and I
Yeah.
laughed and got my drink and walked away. Unless out there is the Cummins story, a fucking
porn
Yeah, yeah.
version.
a porn
Yeah.
version of just like people just coming all
Yeah.
over each other, and then
wonder-
telling stories at the campfire.
I wonder if there are douchey porn stars that do that, which is like when someone's like, oh, like I know who you are,
Yeah.
and they're like, name 3 of my scenes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What have you seen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bet there's somebody.
There's gotta
Question:
be.
How do I eat ass? How do I eat it? No, wrong. I do
You're
it
not a true
backwards.
fan. Upside down.
Spider-Man style, as in the Spider-Man porn parody where I eat ass upside down.
You know that exists.
Oh yeah.
And you
Yeah.
know he's not swinging from webs.
No.
Especially it was more watchable and less dangerous than Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark.
But I tell you what, dude, I watched the most recent Spider-Man on the plane
Yeah.
here, flight back, and it's good. Spider-Man's good.
Which one?
Far From Home.
I haven't seen the new live action ones. I watched
Yeah,
the animated one. I thought it was great.
I heard amazing things.
It was
about
really
Yeah.
wonderful. So a real fun time.
I see. Now there you go. Got to switch it up.
Yeah.
I got to watch the animated ones.
And I watched the live action.
There you
one.
go. See, friendship.
cultural sharing.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Now, Josh, would you mind giving us your story?
Sure.
It's time, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But only in 5 words.
Great. So here are my 5 words.
Okay.
In no particular order: Hong Kong, iPhone, trophy, judgment, fraud.
Beautiful.
All right, so this is actually a little known fact about you that most people. I know a lot of little known facts. You actually spent some time in Hong Kong teaching Boston English because you're from Boston,
Yep.
and this was at the time right after like The Departed and The Town and all these Boston movies. All these movies set in Boston got huge. So all these young Asian kids wanted to learn how to speak Bostonian
English. Yeah.
They, fuck you fucking.
Yeah.
So you're up there in front of kids like, it's fuck you, don't fuck, drop the at. It's fat. It's FAHK. Fuck you.
Yeah.
So you're teaching that for a while. And, like any time abroad, you get lonely.
Yeah, there's not that
Yeah.
many people that are sort of your age that are expats like you, and so you end up just kind of drinking alone a lot. So
Quite a bit.
one particular night, you get a little drunk and you decide, I'm going to explore this wonderful city that I'm in. And you end up walking into mainland China.
Which is a common, you can do that.
Yeah.
It's mainland China is pretty close.
Yeah.
And they have never do they have guards at the border.
No.
Not for white man. They're like, let him come over,
Yeah, I've never been to Hong Kong, but you have, so
Yeah.
you know.
Exactly.
And you stumble across
Now you're in mainland China.
you're in mainland China.
Everybody's speaking Mandarin all of a sudden. You know
don't-
Cantonese pretty well. Now
Yeah.
you're,
And you stumble upon an iPhone factory.
sweatshop. There it is. And
Yeah,
you're like,
but
and there's
my nice term is iPhone factory.
Yeah.
It's a sweatshop.
A very gentle.
Yeah.
That's the term Apple prefers.
Yes, I'm trying to be very diplomatic towards Apple.
right. So you walk in there, and you just walk right in. That's the thing. Like, this is, if you've never met Josh, you have a very I can walk in anywhere vibe.
Thank you. It comes part and parcel to my sexy comedy.
Exactly. Sexy comedy.
Yep,
Walk
comedy
in
with
anywhere.
abs.
Josh could walk into the UN right now. No one's going to give a shit. Let him right in. He'll sit in a desk. Anyway, walks right into this iPhone factory and sees all these kids, 3 a.m, piecing together iPhones. And you're like, I want to help, but I can't free all 5,000 of these kids right now. But then you look up and you see the iPhone that they're looking, the model that they are building their model off of. You're like, but maybe if that wasn't there, production gets shut down. That's going to be the thing I steal, a trophy, if you will. So you fucking just, with your confidence, walk right up, take that iPhone. All the kids are looking at you like, what's he doing? And you walk right out of the building with it. Right out.
Right out of the building.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when you're going back into Hong Kong, you get stopped by some guards.
Yeah. The other way around, they're a little more.
Oh, yeah. It's like U.S. and Canada.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So they write you up a citation that has nothing to do with the iPhone. They're just like, you're after curfew or something, some law that you were just like, okay, I got to show up at this time and receive my judgment.
Judgment. That's what they call it. They don't call it. It's not a ticket. It's not a citation. It's you will go and receive your judgment.
Yes.
Right.
It's an intimidating way to phrase it.
Yeah.
Right.
And you were intimidated.
You were
in that
intimidated,
moment.
and you walk right in there, and you decide, no, not today, judicial system, Hong Kong judicial system, and you convince the judge that the whole case is fraudulent, and he throws it right out, and you come back to America, and I'm looking at it right now with that model iPhone,
That iPhone.
and you carry it, you use it as a phone, but to you it's a trophy of your time in Hong Kong.
And that's why you put it on every table that you sit at.
So people can see it. So that's the story of when you were teaching Bostonian English in Hong Kong and you stumbled into a sweatshop in mainland China and stole the phone that they were using as the model to build their phones, got caught coming back into Hong Kong, convinced the judge that he was actually a fraud, got the case thrown out, and came right back home with that phone as a reminder that you gave thousands of children a 15 to 20-minute break.
Oh, yeah. They started back up after I left. It was.
They just used one of the phones they had already built.
Yeah.
But-
They're just texting.
Well, did we nail it? Come on.
You were right on.
One of these days,
One of
we're
these
going to be
days,
right on.
and then
Incredible.
the podcast will end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can
Yes.
set the record.
What's the
Yeah,
real
please,
story?
please.
Yeah.
What's the real
So
story?
about seven or 8 years ago, I had a friend who is from Australia but was living in New York, and she was the judge. She was a judge for this Hong Kong International Mobile Film Festival. So it was a film festival, and it was supposed to be for people who had made films, short films mostly, on like mobile phones. Like it was like for this, yeah,
okay. That's cool.
yeah. So she was a judge, and the Australian film, the director of the Australian film that was submitted couldn't go. They declined to go to Hong Kong because they were busy with other work stuff, and they couldn't go and represent their film. So she was like, I just need a proxy to go and go to Hong Kong and stand there and like answer some questions from this panel of judges about the film. And I was like, but I don't know anything about it. And she was like, that's okay. And she was like, but it's a free trip to Hong Kong, like for 3 days, hotel,
that's cool.
airfare included. Yeah. So I was like, all right, I was like nervous. I was like, I will be a fraud. I'm faking it. And she's like, no, it's fine. So I like looked up as much as I could about this movie. Yeah. And it was not really a movie. It was like a very beautifully produced commercial for a travel agency, but it was being submitted as a documentary.
Wait, how long? It was a full like...
No, it was like 1 minute.
Oh, okay.
It was like mostly super short shorts.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I like looked up as much information as I could about it, and she was like, they'll really only ask you like what equipment was used. I was like, I don't know that and can't find it. She was like, don't worry about it. Like what the time of production was, and like just like little nuts and bolts things. So I agreed to do it, and I was like, what is the worst thing that will happen? Is they'll deport me for lying at a film festival? I was like, I don't think that's a criminal offense.
And that would actually be kind of a badass.
Yeah, it would be pretty cool.
That would be like, dude, Josh Gondelman, not only sexy comedy, not only walks in anywhere he wants,
deported from Hong Kong
for lying. Yeah, I didn't figure it was going to turn into like some kind of like broke down palace situation where I'm just detained indefinitely.
That would be so insane. Wait, how old are you at this point?
So
7 years ago?
Yeah, late 20s, like 28, 29.
Okay, yeah.
And I didn't have a lot going on that I couldn't shift. I think I like canceled a feature weekend on the road and was like, this is just worth more. Like it'll be a cool experience. And
of course.
And
it was all bought and paid for trip.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I showed up, and it was all these like actual filmmakers from all over the world, from Taiwan and France and Brazil. And it was like an amazing community of people. They were so cool. Their movies were actual movies, many of them. And some like one dude did this like incredible like iPhone tracking shot on a skateboard that looked. It was like really cool. Really like innovative filmmakers. And I was like, how long do I fake it? And then I was like, you know what? I'm not going to. I was just like, oh yeah, I'm just here like doing this thing, and everyone was like very cool. I was like very worried that the filmmakers were gonna be like, you fraud. And so I told them, and they were like, oh, that's cool, we'll just hang. So we like hung out and drank for a couple days and like just like wandered around the city. But when I had to go in for the judgment of the panel of film festival judges, I was like, okay, they'll ask me these 3 questions, they'll make a judgment, and I'll be done. And they were immediately incredibly like incisive with their questioning, where they're like, this is a commercial for a travel agency. Why do you think this is a documentary?
Oh shit.
Yeah, just like full like art question. And I couldn't just be like, look, man, I don't give a shit. Like this isn't mine. I'm just here for
because travel is art.
Yeah. I mean, basically, I was like, well, they went to these places. Like they did this. This is like a document of their travel and their experience and of the filmmaker's experience. And they were like, yeah, but like, so is anything on film. And I was like, point taken. And so it was like this. I was like sweating bullets. I felt they were mad at me for some reason, which they probably were. And eventually, because it was the only documentary, they had to give it an award. But they gave it the silver medal. So I came in second place in a field of 1, which was, I was like, incredible. So I was like, this is hilarious. And they were like, great. But because you are you're representing the only award-winning documentary, you have to speak in front of a panel of film students representing this. So I'm up on stage with like the real filmmakers and, you know, they screened all the films and the students were asking questions and they were like, you know, what was the inspiration for the love story in the French movie? And like, how did you technically achieve this, this kind of film technique in the director from Spain? And then the film students all turn to me and one is like, why is that a documentary? It's just an ad for a travel. So they're like fully turned against me. The whole crowd is like, and I just like told and at this point I was like invested in this thing that was like totally fraudulent. And I'm just like, look, this was a beautiful document of the world and the feelings and the people that live and everyone. Like I gave this like impassioned. You like committed. I really committed, and they were not impressed. And they gave me a trophy that I came back to the United States with, and I was like, this is really funny that I have this. Of course. I love it, but I was like, you know, I should reach out to the real director and tell him. And
know that they hate your shit.
Yeah, not into it. Hey, the people of Hong Kong not impressed by your work. And so I emailed him. I was like, ideally, in a perfect world, he won't write back, and I will just get to keep this huge trophy, and it'll be like a great story, and people will be like, what the hell is that? But I just felt wrong keeping it without reaching out. So I emailed him, and he emailed me back and he was in Australia, and I was like, he's from Australia, so I was like, hey, if you want to pay for the shipping, you know, I tried to make it like as difficult as possible for me to get him back the trophy. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, if you want to pay for shipping, I can figure it out. It'll probably take a couple of weeks. And he was like, oh, cool, man. I'm in New York for work. So just like meet me in Union Square. And I was like, I know. So I went down to Union Square to the office where he was working and I brought it up. And I was just like, oh, hey, I'm Josh. I went to Hong Kong and won this trophy. And I was like ready to tell him the whole story. And he was like, cool, thanks, man. And just like went back to typing. And I was like, God damn it.
You don't even know.
Yeah.
You have a career because of me.
I could have been deported in my head. So, and that was the story. I think I used all the words.
That is so fucking hilarious that because you almost bullshit. It's like, it sounded like you almost bullshitted your way into like a international film career. Like a director.
Yeah, it's so funny.
I also would love to know that what they did, like they took the gold medal and
didn't give it
to a young boy.
Yeah.
And we're like, go make the next winning documentary, young man.
You know what art is.
Yeah, because it's clearly more than this. That's fucking funny, dude.
So funny. And it was just like a really wild experience.
Dude. Because film, okay, so in 2000 it was 14 that we shot this thing. Me and a couple people shot this. Brooks Wheelan was in it. He also has a podcast on the network. And also Saturday Night Live was on that. Brooks was in it. We shot this thing in New Orleans, and we're trying to sell it as a pilot, and we ended up submitting it to this film festival.
I forgot about this.
The San Jose International Film Festival.
Sure.
It was, yeah. So it was in 2016. We all go. We do a screening of all the shorts. Right?
Yeah.
We all go to one screening, and they show 5 shorts, only 5, and that's over. And we were the only people the only ones who made the film that were there.
Nobody else showed up.
No one else showed up. So afterwards, the curator of the event, she's like, all right, and the makers of Yes and are here and are going to answer questions now. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And
you were immediately so uncomfortable.
I just stood up in the middle of I was like, we don't need to answer any questions. It's fine. And they were all like, she was like, and then I was like, okay, wait, hold on. Does anyone have any questions? And no one responded. I'm like, it's okay. Thank you for watching. Let's just all go enjoy the party.
Yeah.
And by the time we got out into the fucking party, we had been vilified.
Oh, no.
Demonized as like these bastard filmmaking pieces of shit who wouldn't even do the panel.
Oh my gosh.
It was so humiliating for the curator to just stand. And I wouldn't apologize to her. I'm like, I'm sorry. Just if we were the only ones there, it felt like it would have just been. We would have monopolized it. I'm sorry. And she fucking like, you know, when someone stares at you and like, oh, you hate me and you're never
Yeah.
going to not hate me.
Oh no.
You probably think about me still to this day and burn.
Right, like every time
Yeah.
they invite filmmakers, like, and you'll have to stay for a panel because we've had people that didn't.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that you're not going to be like that.
Well, it's funny because I
no.
feel like you did that out of like insecurity in a
No,
way.
I did it out of let's spare this entire room.
No, but
the
yeah, but it was
awkwardness.
also
Yeah.
like no one else had shown up, and so
Yeah.
you were like,
Yeah.
I don't need to like bother these people when they want to go
Right.
drink at this party. But
Yeah.
she then hated you out of her own insecurity of like being trapped up there.
Right, and thinking
Yeah.
you were like big timing her.
Yeah.
Which you were not.
No, that's
but
so
man,
funny.
But like now, in retrospect, I regret not just going up and taking questions and
Yeah.
pretending to be a pretentious asshole.
Sure.
filmmaker.
Yeah.
Which your whole time I'm like, oh, I'm so envious that Josh got to
It was
kind
very
of just
funny.
spin yarns.
It was very stressful, but it was real. I was like up there being like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you
Yeah.
have experiences where like in the moment, even if it's not like this is a bit, you're just like, oh, this will be good for later. Like this is bad now and it will be good later.
Well, when else? Like, I'm trying to rack my brain for any time that you would be forced to be a proxy or like bullshit on like in the moment in that way, and
Yeah.
it's like pretty rare. It's like if you end up in a job interview, you're not supposed to be
Right.
in.
It was like that.
Yeah.
Exactly like that.
Yeah.
But I also didn't want the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like
it was very that to going back to Bostonian English.
Oh, yeah.
Ben Affleck in Good Will Hunting when he goes on all the job
yeah,
interviews.
retainer.
Yeah.
No, it's like like that. That almost sounds like a movie
Yeah.
about the guy who went.
Let's film it on an iPhone and make
Yeah,
it
yeah,
short.
Yeah,
Exactly.
submit it to the
Yes.
film festival.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Oh,
love
so
that.
meta.
Because it's like that's also a situation where you're like, everyone realizes I'm the innocent one here, right? Don't be mad at me for this. I told you.
Yeah.
I came clean.
Yep.
Yeah.
My name's Josh.
Yep.
I don't direct ads.
It was
It's so
a really
funny too
nice
that it was
ad.
like, but it was so misplaced.
It was so
as
misplaced.
Well.
Yeah, I don't know like what led to the point that I joined the story.
Yeah.
But it was very funny.
You know, that's the thing
So
too. Like
hilarious.
To me.
I and Caitlin and I have had this discussion a lot, and I'm probably wrong to an extent, but I also think I'm right. Is like I don't love panels anyway.
Interesting.
Like I just there's some.
I do.
I know, and most people do. I get it, but like to me, there's something that I don't like about pulling back the curtain that much. You know, where I'm sort of like, if you want to learn about an art or a craft or a thing, just absorb it.
Yeah.
And you can through absorbing it, I feel like you learn what you need to learn, and you get inspired how you need to get inspired. Because sometimes I feel like if you give up too much information about a process, or if you're watching someone tell you exactly how they created this thing, my issue becomes, well, now the magic's gone from it.
Yeah.
And now they're like, it's all, you know that, oh, that was actually just a story my uncle told me that I,
Oh, yeah.
turned it, and like, but that wasn't, okay.
And I
Fuck.
see your point, but for me, if I really latch onto something,
Yeah.
I want to know everything
I
about
hear
it,
you.
and it makes it more magical for me to like see
Right.
the first like the draft notes of some script that then becomes the script that then becomes the like I want to absorb everything about it that I can get my hands on.
I think so much of it depends on like who's talking and who's at like what the questions are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too. Like I think there are some
That's true. That's a good
good
point.
questions
Yeah.
that like there are some things that I would never think to say about work that I've done. I'm sure like other people who work in creative fields too. There's like the story that you consider and tell, right? Of like, this is what my life and career is, this is how I do this work. And then when someone kind of asks you a thoughtful, curious question that's like, because you're too steeped in it, you would never have thought to even address. I like that.
That's a good point.
That's
Yeah.
fun.
That's a good
but
point, yeah.
I do think so many panels like you
Are
get they're the
unnecessary.
same
Yeah.
things. Like you get asked the same things in every city.
Yeah.
Not me in this case, but like you go to an author event and the author gets asked like, where do you get your ideas? And it's like,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
But if someone is
I'm not going to tell you.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it has to be a really well-led panel, that's for
Yeah.
sure. 'Cause
That
if
is
the
true.
if the person leading it has not done their research in terms of like what questions have been asked this person
Yeah.
over and over and over again that you could easily Google,
Yep.
then
Well,
what's
it's like
the
when-
point?
yeah,
It's
or-
a redundant panel.
Well, when someone is interviewing you about comedy and they're like, "So who are your comedic influences?" You're
Yeah.
like, "Fuck you,"
Or like,
"Fuck off."
There's
It's a waste of time question.
even like
Yeah.
lower level than that is like, so how do you describe your comedy? It's like, I don't.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
would
I just-
never do
sexy.
that.
Yeah, I just
It has
I just
abs.
kind of do it,
Yeah.
and then you can describe it
Yeah.
how
Yeah,
you
that's
want.
your job.
Yeah, especially and that's like even outside of panels, but like you do like a radio phone or a newspaper
Oh, yeah.
interview for a city you're about to go to, and like people are busy, and and it's so nice to have any kind of like advance announcement to places that I'm
Yeah.
gonna be there, because I'm not a big deal as a touring stand-up at all, but it is sometimes you get those thank you. You get those questions that are like, oh, you would ask this no matter who
was
I
there.
was.
Oh, of course,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you would get the same, like, I can't imagine anyone answering it to your satisfaction.
Sure.
Or to
Yeah.
or to the edification of the audience.
That's true. And also, like, the person being interviewed. Like, if I'm listening to a thing and I'm just a random audience member, if the person being interviewed is not engaged because they're not being asked great questions,
Yeah.
then why do I want to listen to
Of
this
course.
conversation between two people that are kind of bored with each other or don't know anything about each other?
My wife Maris does a podcast where she interviews authors.
Oh, cool.
And and she does a lot of like author Q&A in general. Like she does a monthly thing for the Wall Street Journal. She's
What's
like
the podcast
It's
called?
called The Maris Review.
Yeah, plug.
Plug.
It's great, and it's great, and she's great at it, and she takes so seriously like asking questions that she like reads all the many interviews with the guest before they come on, so she's not asking like the same like, so your book is set in Pennsylvania, how long have you lived in Pennsylvania? Like the same. Yeah.
You're Maris. It's funny because I knew she did something in that field.
Yeah.
It's just funny because the last time I saw your wife was some party you guys were having. And it was at a bar.
Yeah.
And she was hammer
Oh
town.
no.
But no, everyone was hammer town.
Oh sure.
But I just remember being like, oh, hell, like it was like, I don't, I've only met her a couple times.
Yeah.
It was like, been there.
Yeah.
In fact,
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
be there in about an hour.
We'll all be there together.
But you see, that's funny because like, yeah, good, you're right, good questions. I had a dude interviewing me once ask, what is your favorite type of laugh?
Oh.
And that sent me down like a mental wormhole. I'm
Oh,
just like,
yeah.
what is my favorite type of laugh?
That's fascinating.
That was like the
funny.
whole interview. I
Yeah.
was just like, oh, time's up. Yeah, I got to go.
Yeah.
But thank you.
I
What
just
it-
had
yeah.
a lunch meeting where I won't name the comic, but his laugh was described as a laugh of someone who had studied a book about how to laugh,
That's really funny.
which is
Yeah.
great.
You're like, ha 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 ha.
Yeah, exactly.
One of my favorite laughs to hear is a fellow comedian, and he's also been on this podcast, and fellow Bostonian, Meron Kagani.
Oh yeah.
Because his laugh is yes!
Yeah.
Like it's a approval.
Yeah.
Like, ha ha, yes!
It's
Yeah.
huge.
It's so
His laugh
like-
is huge.
Whoa, I'm alive.
Yeah.
It's so funny to be in the Olive Tree Cafe, which is above the Comedy Cellar, which is very chill, quiet, comedians hanging out, nice bar, and see people react when someone makes Meron laugh.
Oh
And
yeah.
they're not expecting this blast of sass.
I had such a fun moment at the Olive Tree, like around the holidays. Tracy Morgan was there just hanging out, talking to some comedian
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
And like a lot of times I only feel like I can tell this story because he was not like this. Like I wouldn't blow up anybody's spot. But you know how like sometimes a famous person will kind of slip in and out. They'll talk to the other comics. They'll be like not try to be noticed by
Sure.
the general public, especially because it's in the restaurant. It's not even in the club itself.
Right, right.
So they don't want to be bothered, or they want to have like some private time. They're working.
Yeah.
So Tracy Morgan is kind of holding court with the comics. Very funny. And he's been there for a while, at least as long, like he was there before I got there. I'd been there for an hour, and he walks out through the front door, and as he hits the middle of the restaurant, he says real big to the whole restaurant, "Merry Christmas!" And everyone turns and looks at him and applauds, and then he goes, "Bah humbug!" And it like really made me laugh. I was like,
man.
what a like he gave that like
Oh,
whatever
yeah.
the 50 people
Yeah.
in the restaurant, like people are gonna text their friends from
Yeah.
dinner. It's
Yeah.
like such a fun, like what a fun way to be famous if you
Yeah.
have the stomach for
Well,
that.
it's like
Oh, yeah.
a few years ago on Thanksgiving night, at the Cellar.
I was there.
Yeah, I was. With
Chappelle.
Yeah, with Chappelle.
Yeah.
Chappelle took the audience to a bar.
Yeah,
or to
and
like
that's a story they'll tell for the rest. I still tell.
I still tell that story too.
Yeah.
I went. This was so. Dave Chappelle went on, lit the host early, right? Like shine the light. It was Seton Smith who was up and had been on for like 5 minutes, and Dave was like, "I'd like to go on, please." And so they bring the host down.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah. Seton had been up a very short time.
Yeah,
and I was weirdly, I was booked at both rooms that night. The Underground and the McDougal Street room, and the sets, like, for whatever reason, had been booked like concurrently. So I was nervous, and I was like, "Hey, is there any way I could flip spots with somebody?" And they're like, "Oh, Dave's here. Don't worry about it. Like, you won't. You can just go do the other spot and then come back." So he goes up, and he's like, I'm watching and enjoying myself, and he's just kind of goofing around, and then he keeps saying, he's like, "Who's coming with me? We're gonna have a party. My family's staying at a hotel. Who's no phones. Let's not make records. We're making memories tonight," which is like the coolest thing I've ever heard anyone say.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so he's like been on for probably half an hour, and I have to go do my other spot, and I go and I come back and I say, I'm upstairs at the restaurant. I go, "Is Chappelle still on?" And they go, "No, he left with the audience."
Yeah.
And I was like, "What?" It was like such a wild
He took
thing.
them. Yeah.
Took the audience.
Yeah.
He said, "This is the meanest thing I've ever done to the Comedy Cellar. Everybody pay your checks, and we're gonna go."
125 people. Because I was around the corner at the Village Underground.
Yeah.
And I got off stage.
Right.
Yeah. And it was like, oh, Chappelle's around the corner. I'm like, oh, I'll go watch Dave.
Yeah.
My spot's not till midnight.
Yeah.
And I walked around, and as I was walking up, all these people were leaving. And I was like, the show's over already? And Val, the manager, was just... Dave just took the audience.
Yeah.
But my favorite part of that story is a week later when Dave walked in again, and Val goes up to Chappelle and goes, "Dave, I got to ask you, please don't leave with the audience this time." and he was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I won't. Like he forgot. Like it was like just like a day in the life of Dave Chappelle.
And that's the story. Everyone else involved in that story is like, well, this is my best story.
The biggest thing of 2016.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, I did do that.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny. I forgot that you were at the Underground.
Yeah. I remember that because we had to leave Long Island early because he had a spot.
I did the same thing with New Jersey because what I used to do is I would have Thanksgiving dinner with my wife's family in New Jersey, and then I would come home to Brooklyn, so that I could go to Boston the next day to see my family and I did like Thanksgiving weekend at Laugh Boston there, and so I was like, well, if I'm gonna be home in Brooklyn by 10, why not put in a Vails? So and so I was at the Cellar just like because of that, because I was coming home to go to Boston the next day, and it was just like such a weird thing. And like a really, like, I think Dave Chappelle, like for and I feel like as a caveat, I should say there's like a lot of his newer material and the newer specials that like I kind of like cringe a little bit at.
Yeah.
But like he has a real sense in these moments of like making the night special for people and like creating these like that Dave Chappelle's Block Party film is like the highest expression of that, but I think he's very it seems like from the outside that is something he's interested in as an artist.
I agree, because even with the newest special, which I agree with you, but it starts, there's no like, please welcome Dave Chappelle. It starts and he's in the middle of a sentence almost.
Love
and
it.
it's like, you're in this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He also, like, I can acknowledge there's things that he says on stage where I'm like, oh, I can understand how that's offensive. But I also, like, for me, it's like, I just appreciate the absolute dedication to self that he has.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, he's not apologizing. He's not trying to hurt anyone. He's just being like, I'm a 40-something-year-old black male in America. This is how I feel, and you deal with it.
Yeah.
I'm doing it. Because he says that in that special, which I really love, where he says, I forget what the bit was, but he's like, and the people watching this on Netflix, remember, you clicked on my face.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't have to be watching me right now. And it's like, yes, nobody does that ever. Now I'm going to do that on YouTube. Hey, YouTube people. You found me by accident.
On IGTV.
Yeah.
You were served this video after watching, I don't know, a guy fight a crocodile, whatever people watch on YouTube that leads to comedy.
Oh, the man, they should have sent Chappelle to argue for that to represent, to be a proxy.
Oh,
for that.
yeah,
Oh,
in
wow.
Hong Kong.
Yeah.
I mean, that's such a, like, that, I hope you make that into a bit.
Thank you. I should try to do it. I've like, I wrote it as a chapter for my book, but it ended up getting cut because it's kind of this like shaggy dog story that doesn't like, I didn't learn anything.
Right,
You know what I mean? It's just like a fun story to tell, but I should do something with it.
What is your
Yeah.
book called?
Nice try. Thank
Ni-
you.
Yeah.
Stories of best intentions and mixed results is the subtitle.
See, published author. That's badass.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
That's like
Yeah.
that's something. Whenever someone has a book, I'm like, that's so goddamn rad.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
That's very kind.
Where's it available?
It's wherever books
everywhere.
are sold. Yeah.
I just saw it at QED the other night.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That really warms my heart that,
Yeah.
that Cambry stocks it there.
Yeah.
And I do the audiobook. I
How long? So wait, how long did it take you to record the audiobook?
it took, so it was supposed to be, we were slotted for 3 7-hour days, which is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the first day was like 5.5 hours, including a lunch break. And then the second day was like 3.5 hours, including lunch break. And then the last day was like 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
Plus a couple of pickups. Like I think I wonder if they overscheduled because I'd never done one before. I'm not like because so many books are professional readers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did, just by virtue of like, I write kind of like I talk and I talk professionally. I was it wasn't like pulling teeth. I think like my producer Iris was amazing.
Yeah.
And I thought it was like really great working with her. But I think my guess is I was a little ahead of the curve of like a first time
Yeah.
reader.
I think that's true. I've been listening to the audiobook.
Oh,
but
thank
it's
you.
so great. But also, I think about this a lot
Yeah.
because I listen to a lot of audiobooks, and then I also listen to a lot of audiobooks written by comedians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, like picking the right person if it's not going to be your own voice.
Oh yeah, if I ever wrote a book, the audiobook will be done by an Asian lady with a thick accent,
Yeah.
or like a 5-year-old boy.
That would be like
This is the chapter.
chapter 1.
God,
I
that was
lost
one
my
of the
virginity.
weirdest audiobooks to listen to was Room. I listened to. Did you guys read that book?
No, I know the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it had to be done by obviously an adult pretending to be a child. 'Cause it's
Oh,
told through that point of view.
yeah.
So that was very odd because
That's
it's like
very
a
strange.
really skewed
Were they doing a
voice.
little kid voice? That's very
Yeah,
strange.
just get
Yeah.
a little kid.
Someone told me that
They're everywhere. Just grab one up.
someone told
Oh,
me
don't.
that Ronan Farrow's book, this I think was like kind of going around a little bit. He took dialect lessons so that he could do like the accents of the Ukrainian
Oh, interesting.
individuals involved in the story.
Yeah.
So
Ah.
like he was like, okay. And then as I reported this, a man came up to me and he said, "Mr. Farrow." Like he just goes
Yeah.
into these
That's
heavy
so
accents,
crazy.
which is so funny to me.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Also,
Yeah.
I do want to clarify for real that I was doing 5-year-old boy, not old Asian lady. And I'm not like, here's my new podcast bit. Old Asian lady voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your old Asian lady sounds a lot like a kid named Mitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm from Macau.
Like just very like
Yeah.
I think he's trying to be racist, but he's not pulling it
But
off.
he's being adorable.
It's adorable.
Yeah, and when you're a published author, you can rock as many cardigans
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
Josh Gondelman does.
I do. I wear a lot of cardigans.
You crush the cardigan game.
Thank you.
And it makes even more sense now that you have a book.
It
you're an
is
author.
very, yeah. I
No.
do feel like some people, I've been teased recently, but I do when I'm going, like when I'm doing club spots in the city or even headlining, like I don't always, I don't always dress the same.
Yeah.
But like if I'm going to a thing where I'm doing a storytelling show tonight on Long Island, and like I wore a cardigan because I was like, I don't want to have to explain that I'm the kind of person that wears cardigans.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll just wear it, and then people will see me and be like, I get it. Like I had a track jacket on that I like a lot and wear on stage, but I was like, I don't want people to think that I think I'm cool right now.
Yeah.
No, your cardigan. Like you should, if you ever get to a point where your book bestsellers list, they're doing a Netflix series based on it. You know, you got your own talk show. When you pop off and you're like, hey, I got all this extra money. Josh's cardigans.
Oh yeah, just a
Gondelman.
line of
Gondelman's cardigans. No,
I like that.
Gondelman. Fondleman's
No.
because
I
they
feel
fondle
like-
you.
I feel like the connotations there it's a tough sell.
What? So wait, where you're doing start? Where are? Because this will probably come out next week.
It will come out on Tuesday.
So yeah,
Oh, cool.
so Tuesday. So what are you got anything coming up? Want to?
I'm back in Boston at Laugh Boston in May, and I'm doing the
Fun club. That's a fun club.
I really like
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love going home and doing shows too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm at the Bird City Comedy Festival in Phoenix. Oh, sorry, both in March. I said May, I think. I'm at Laugh Boston in March,
Right.
which I love. I'm at the Bird City Comedy Festival in Phoenix in March, and please buy my book. And Desus Mero is back on TV, so that's what I'm excited for. When this comes out, the season 2 will have started.
Oh yeah,
Awesome.
that's
Yeah.
a massive
Yeah.
thing we didn't mention.
That's
at all.
okay.
Yeah.
Josh, a writer for Desus Mero.
Yeah.
It's
Which
so
is
fun.
pretty awesome, yeah.
They're the best. I'm like really excited for this new season. We have the stuff we've been shooting over the last few weeks since we've been back in the office. I'm like really excited for people to see.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I think it's gonna be so fun, and they're just like the funniest people. It's
Oh, yeah.
ridiculous.
My buddy Darius, who's like my homie, he's been a fan of them since the Bodega Boy days.
Yeah.
So he's like it's huge that you're in the apartment right now as someone who works with those guys.
I
So,
appreciate that. Thank
yeah,
you.
it's awesome. It's awesome. Previous, and it's funny because you wrote for John Oliver.
I did.
and then jumped over to Desus
To
Mero.
Desus Mero, yeah.
Desus
You
Mero.
won an Emmy for John Oliver, right?
I did. I won some Emmys.
That's very exciting.
Thank you.
Gee, I would love if you had like a
Emmy-winning
shelf.
published author cardigan.
Yeah, but I would love if you had a shelf of the Emmys plus that old trophy from.
Oh,
the
yeah, right. That would be so perfect.
So great.
It would be so good.
Yeah.
I like really regret losing this trophy. I shouldn't have given it back.
No.
I was just young and naive and was like, the right thing to do is to find this guy.
Yeah.
But I was like, why? I went to Hong Kong. I carried it back in my
And then he
duffel
didn't even
bag.
care. He was just
He
like,
didn't even
thanks.
care.
Yeah.
I wonder if he has
and
it.
if you're listening to this now and you were at that film festival giving Josh
Yeah, find
shit,
the gold trophy.
Yeah.
giving him shit about the film that he had nothing to do with,
Yep.
the
Yeah.
ad. Know that he has 2 Emmys.
Yeah.
Ha! And a published author, and a sweet cardigan,
Thank you.
and a dog, a very cute pug.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's so cute.
Uh,
She's
And
so
his
good.
jokes have abs.
and his jokes
My jokes have abs. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
But wait, joshgondelman.com?
JoshGondelman.com and then at Josh Gondelman on Twitter and Instagram.
Follow, and
Do
wait,
it.
do you still do the thing on Twitter, the modern Seinfeld?
No,
No?
I mean, it's still there, but we gave it up a few years ago. It just felt like it didn't seem
Hey,
like
it-
relevant to keep doing.
Right.
Yeah, it did run
It
its
was
course.
fucking funny, though.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
I appreciate that. We
Yeah.
just felt like the project was over, even
Yeah.
though Twitter lasts forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go get up on Josh online. See the man live. It is seriously like so goddamn funny and
Thank
so
you.
friendly. And his jokes do have abs and ass and
They're thick. They're thick
like
jokes.
his jokes got lats. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I
I cross train.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the jokes cross train.
Yeah.
His jokes do Muay Thai. It's impressive.
His jokes can lift a lot of weird random objects on the
Yeah.
sidewalk.
It is.
Yeah.
And get the book. Check out Josh. He's
Yeah.
he's the best. And also, what's Maris's podcast called?
The Maris Review.
Go listen to some interviews with some other authors.
Yeah.
Does she interview you?
She did.
There you go.
Yeah.
Go
I
listen to
went on.
that.
All right.
It was very fun.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
This is Redmond's I'll Be That, but covered like a singer-songwriter would.
My middle name must be fuck you, 'cause every time I walk by, be like fuck you. I'll be that, I'll be that, I'll be that, I'll be that. My first name must be he ain't shit, 'cause every time I'm in a car, bitches be like he ain't shit. I'll be that,